From Wish TV and the All Indiana Podcast Network, this is the News 8 Daily 8 Podcast with Wish TV's Kylie Conway. A Wish TV News 8 update.
Hi, I'm Kylie Conway, and this is your News 8 Daily 8 for Monday, May 8th. Our Storm Track 8 weather team says we are locked into an unsettled weather pattern. It's going to bring us some periods of showers and thunderstorms for the next 36 hours or so. The next round of rain and storms will move in from the southwest this evening. Some storms could be strong with frequent lightning, gusty wind, and heavy rain. A Brownsburg elementary school is closed today, pending air quality tests after a fire. Fire officials say a lightning strike during yesterday morning's storm sparked the fire. 5 departments responded and quickly extinguished it. 8 classrooms were damaged. No one was inside at the time. However, a teacher almost was. Firefighters say she had just pulled up to the school, and they're thankful she was in the right place at the right time.
A teacher actually showed up to check on some recently hatched chicks and noticed that there was smoke coming from the building. So she was able to alert 911 that something was going wrong for us to get here.
The fire department posted to its social media showing that the chicks did make it through the fire. They were relocated safely into a wing of the school that was not impacted. Conservation officers say 2 hunters should survive a shooting in Monroe County. It happened Saturday at Morgan Monroe State Forest. It was Saturday morning. The DNR says Sean Hooper from Fishers was hunting for turkeys, misidentified his target, and hit 2 people instead. The agency says the hunters who are hurt were Jeffrey McClintock of Indianapolis and Scott Pointer of Danville. Officers are using the near tragedy to remind all hunters to make sure your target is what you think it is and make sure you know what's in front of and behind it before shooting. The National Weather Service confirms a tornado did hit New Albany, Indiana over the weekend. This is southern Indiana. It damaged parts of IU Southeast, the campus in New Albany. The Louisville Office of Weather Service says that there were downed power lines, uprooted trees, and debris near the Natural Science and Nursing building. The agency says the twister was an EF1 strength with peak winds of 105 miles an hour Sunday morning. IU Southeast says its commencement ceremony will go on as planned this morning. And it is National Nurses Week. A local leader in the field warns the country is in a nursing crisis, though. We talked to the Dean of Nursing School at Purdue Global. She says the demand has grown for years and accelerated with the pandemic. According to the American Association of Colleges of Nursing, the country was an estimated 1.1 million nurses shortage last year.
There are folks that will say that we're in a shortage, and I would counter that by saying we're in a crisis. We need nurses more now than ever. Our population is growing. We have folks that are retiring, registered nurses that are retiring. So being able to add to the workforce to accommodate the growing population, but also to account for those that are retiring from the profession is really important.
Melissa Birdie is calling for more funding for nursing education programs and initiatives to attract people to the job. Former Indiana Schools Chief Jennifer McCormick says the next governor must listen to law enforcement recommendations. News 8's government reporter Garrett Berquist got McCormick's take on safety in and out of the classroom in all Indiana politics.
Jennifer McCormick became the first major Democrat to launch a bid for governor when she announced her campaign at this tavern in her hometown of Newcastle. She says public safety will play a major role in her campaign. I asked her what she meant by that.
Well, I think for one, we need to listen to those who are in that arena, and we need to make sure they have a voice. I know that the state police has really pushed back against some legislation that in the last few years has gone through, but we need to listen to the experts in safety. Having been a local superintendent, I was in charge of school safety, and that is a big, dynamic, complex issue. But we have to rely on partners that will help get us to common sense policies that will help move us forward. And I've heard from a lot of first responders, police, and the list goes on, that we really need to come together to come up with some solutions. It also has to be funded. So there's no secret to, people say it's not all about the money, but the money is incredibly important when you're looking at safety. We can no longer not put that as a priority. Part of that, too, is the mental health piece of it that we need. You know, we were hopeful this last legislative session. It did not come up to where we wanted it for the budget, but we need a champion at that State House and the governor's office who will push for a lot of different policies and platform items that will push for a safer community for all Hoosiers.
All Indiana Politics airs every Sunday morning at 9:30 exclusively on Wish TV. In Newcastle, I'm Garrett Bergquist for Wish TV, wishtv.com, and like us on Facebook.
New polling numbers are dismal for President Biden. A Washington Post ABC survey finds that most likely to vote for a Democrat do not want Biden to be the nominee next year. The poll finds 58% of those who lean Democratic want someone else to get the party's nomination. 36% say Biden should get to be the nominee again. The poll also finds Biden's approval at an all-time low. It's at 36%, according to the Post ABC count, lowest of any recent major survey. Closing arguments will likely begin today in the New York civil trial against former President Donald Trump. Sunday, Trump declined his last chance to testify. He had until 5 o'clock yesterday to file a request. Trump has not been in the courtroom at all during the 2-week trial. E. Jean Carroll did testify that Trump raped her in a department store dressing room. She says it happens in the 1990s. She is seeking millions of dollars in compensatory and punitive damages. Trump denies the accusations. The jury could begin deliberating as soon as tomorrow. U.S. officials are sounding the alarm as Title 42 is set to end. The pandemic-era asylum restrictions are scheduled to expire Thursday. Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas says authorities are facing extremely challenging circumstances along the Mexico border. The deputy director of a homeless shelter in El Paso says he's concerned about having space for the influx of migrants. Also on Thursday, the U.S. House is set to vote on Republicans' wide-ranging border security package. The bill would codify some of the border programs implemented by former President Donald Trump. And people have placed crosses, flowers, and stuffed animals outside a mall in Texas and North Dallas to honor 8 people who were killed in a mass shooting Saturday. Federal investigators say 33-year-old Mauricio Garcia opened fire at the Dallas area mall Saturday afternoon, sending hundreds of shoppers fleeing in panic. Garcia was killed by police at the scene. A motive for the shooting hasn't been released, but federal officials say they are looking into whether the suspect expressed an interest in white supremacist ideology. Federal agents say he posted about white supremacist and neo-Nazi views on social media. And authorities say 8 people have died after an SUV plowed into a group of people in Brownsville, Texas. This happened Sunday at an unmarked bus stop outside a migrant shelter. People who were there say the driver tried to run away, but others caught him and held him until police got there. The driver is under arrest, facing a reckless driving charge. Investigators are not yet saying if they think he did it on purpose. They've not released his name. Baseball has lost one of its great names. Vida Blue died this weekend after a struggle with cancer. Blue was a star with the A's, then the Giants, and spent time as a Royal, too. All 3 teams honored him Sunday. The Giants held a moment of silence. The Royals hosted the A's in Kansas City and put his picture up on the big screen as both teams lined up. Vida Blue was a flame-throwing left-hander who won the Cy Young and MVP in 1971 and was a 3-time World Series champion and 6-time All-Star. He was 73 years old. Tiger Woods faces more accusations from his former live-in girlfriend. Erica Herman has filed new claims in court, saying Woods sexually harassed her while pursuing a relationship with her while she worked for him. Herman also claims the golf star forced her to sign a non-disclosure agreement or be fired from her job. This is the second lawsuit Herman has filed against Woods since they separated last fall. The first claims a trust owned by Woods broke a spoken agreement to allow her to continue living in his home. Maine is reporting its first case of the measles in 4 years. The CDC says the child who tested positive did receive a dose of the measles vaccine, but considers the child contagious out of caution. So far, the agency says it's seen 10 cases in 8 states this year. It recommends all children get 2 doses of the MMR vaccine. Out-of-control wildfires are forcing tens of thousands of people from their homes in Western Canada. Authorities say there are more than 100 active fires across British Columbia and Alberta. Strong wind may further fuel the flames over the next few days. Authorities say the fires have scorched nearly 400,000 acres so far. And add to a milestone moment for a local hospital system is outshined, though, by the heartwarming story that made it happen. News 8's Hannah Mordeau explains.
800 kidney transplants. Ascension St. Vincent hit that number this spring after a local woman saw a post on Facebook about someone she knew years ago needing a kidney, so she donated one of hers. Now she's raising awareness about living donors.
So these are glass knobs that the living donors get to make.
Tiffany Stahl finds comfort and company as she walks into the Kidney Center at Ascension St. Vincent. She's greeted with kindness in person.
What's your name? Tiffany Stahl.
And symbols of fellow living donors along the walls.
It's kind of a relief to know that, this many people have been through the same thing that I have.
Her piece of art will be added soon.
It's supposed to be the Donate Life logo.
As the 800th kidney transplant and the 156th living donor.
Was it easy? No. Was it worth it? 100%.
This all started with this man, Adrian Butler. He's a father, a private person, who suffered from polycystic kidney disease since his 20s and ended up with kidney failure. In desperation, his wife posted on Facebook.
Posted that Adrian was in need of a kidney, and I hadn't seen or talked to Adrian in a couple years at least.
The two went to Warren Central High School together. Back then, Adrian was friends with Tiffany's brother, so she decided to see if she was a match.
Pretty easy. It was a lot of blood work.
A few simple tests is all it took.
Every step of the way, I just prayed, if this isn't in God's will, then show me a sign. And then the day that I got the call that I was a match, it was kind of like, okay.
What goes through your mind then?
I cried.
In March, it was time for surgery.
We've named the kidney Lefty, so they took my left kidney.
Lefty saved Adrian's life, and after one night in the hospital...
It's kind of crazy that you go through that whole process and you feel completely fine.
We always aim to strive for living donations.
Dr. Abdul Moise is the medical director at the kidney transplant program.
We need to spread the word about living donation. In America, there are about 120,000 patients waiting for a kidney transplant. Unfortunately, we do only about 15,000 kidney transplants a year. So there's a shortage of kidneys. So living donation is something which can bridge this gap.
He says living donation offers the best chance of survival for the kidney and the patient. As for donors
have great outcomes.
Hey, it's possible, and it's definitely doable.
Tiffany is proof that you can share your spare, live your life, and
being able to help
can save a life.
Can save a life.
And while Adrian did not want to speak on camera, he did want us to tell his story to promote living donations. There are also donor swap options. If you are not a match for someone you know, you may still be able to help someone else.
Again, that was Hannah Mordeau reporting. And this is the first to 2 May race weeks at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. The GMR Grand Prix is this weekend. Alexander Rossi has finished second, fourth, and first the last 3 years. Grand Prix qualifying is Friday. The race is set for Saturday afternoon at 3:30. The 500 Festival Mini Marathon has a new course record to beat. In case you missed it, a runner from Kenya set the record this weekend at 1 hour, 1 minute, and 44 seconds. Organizers say about 20,000 people hit the pavement running either the 5K or Mini Marathon. 5 countries, 5 continents, and all 50 states were represented in the race. And to business headlines, a poll of 1,800 U.S. adults found across the board 48% said their grocery costs are eating up the majority of their monthly budget, followed by utility bills and credit card debt. Gen X is spending the most on groceries, according to a poll from user testing and conducted by OnePoll. The study also revealed that when it comes to finances and banking, people across all generations prefer a human touch. 83% said they prefer using a physical bank for their financial needs. U.S. airline and baggage fee revenue of more than $6.7 billion last year, according to the Bureau of Transportation stats. American Airlines alone earned almost $1.4 billion from checked bags, accounting for more than 2% of the carrier's full-year revenue. For decades, most bags flew for free, but in recent years, fees have surged, boosting the bottom line of the nation's carriers. U.S. carriers hauled more than 470 million passenger bags last year. Live Nation posted a record $3.1 billion in revenue, up 73% from last year. In the first quarter of 2023, despite possible regulation and tremendous fallout from botched Ticketmaster sales for the Taylor Swift Eras Tour, the ticket industry giant said over 19 million people attended events across 45 countries in the first quarter. Many venues and markets opened fully for the first time since the global pandemic began in 2020. The expansion of telehealth has made care more accessible for many people, especially those in rural areas. Patients have been able to receive prescriptions from providers without seeing them in person. But that may change come May 11th, when the federal government is set to end the COVID-19 public health emergency declaration that made this convenience possible. And in March, visits to 3 leading buffet restaurants, Golden Corral, Cece's, and Pizza Ranch, were up 125% from January of 2021, according to data from Placer AI, which tracks foot traffic at restaurants and stores. Buffets are growing again in part due to financial strains on consumers, and diners are looking for value. This has been your News 8 Daily 8 for Wish TV. I'm Kylie Conway, online at wishtv.com. Follow us on Facebook when you search Wish TV.
This is the News 8 Daily 8 podcast with Wish TV's Kylie Conway. A Wish TV News 8 update on demand. For even more, on demand and on the go. Connect with Wish TV on Facebook at wishtv.com and on the free Wish TV mobile app. Thank you for listening. And be sure to like, subscribe, and follow this podcast for updates every weekday morning on the All Indiana Podcast Network and wherever you get your podcast.